A worm-infested piece of meat was crushed by shady merchants, turned into chicken nuggets, and sent to the school cafeteria. A little girl bought it for lunch and ate it, but her face broke out in blisters, and she seemed dazed. A mischievous boy classmate tried to pull her hair, but ended up pulling her scalp too. The girl suddenly changed, knocked the boy down, and bit off half his face. The homeroom teacher saw this and tried to stop her, but the girl had incredible strength. The homeroom teacher took the boy to the infirmary for bandaging, but the boy's expression turned odd. The boy's friend, Ah Huang, was not convinced and found the girl digging on the playground, calling her names. The girl retaliated with a swipe. Soon, Ah Huang lost his mind and started scratching anyone he saw. Quickly, the kids on the playground were either scratched or bitten, and those injured got blisters on their faces, lost their sanity, and attacked those around them. The once cheerful playground turned chaotic, while the homeroom teacher was still chatting romantically with the female teacher. Unaware of the chaos, a janitor sensed trouble and used a radio to alert the principal. The children went crazy, eating, and when the principal left his office, they surrounded him, grabbing his limbs and hollowing out his body. With the biology teacher's warning, the other teachers finally understood the chaos outside. The gym teacher playing basketball noticed too, staring in shock at these kids with snow-white hair. It's clear that the piece of fried chicken is to blame. The insects on the chicken were laid by flies carrying a certain virus, which is why these children have now mutated. To save his life, the gym teacher turned into a football master, skillfully dodging and crashing through, reaching the classroom door and closing it just as the children rushed up. Another teacher hurriedly called the police but had just connected. No response came from the other end. The first bitten child had cut the infirmary's phone line. Kids surrounded the classroom ready to break the windows and storm in. A police car arrived, its siren drawing the children. Unaware, the officer stepped out to investigate, not knowing the girl digging a hole had finished and crawled out. Arthur assumed it was a prank by the kids, so he tried to calm them, but screamed in pain when 2 of his fingers were bitten off. Hurting, he rushed back to the car, not expecting what happened next. Seeing this, the gym teacher got angry. He thought he was tough and felt embarrassed being chased by kids, so he wanted to confront them, despite others trying to stop him. He opened the infirmary door to grab something but forgot about the child inside, who lunged at him. Luckily, he was strong and lifted the child, tossing him out. However, the child quickly changed targets and tackled the head teacher, determined to send him away. The female teacher took out pepper spray and used it aggressively. The result was anger as the child charged. The female teacher dodged, but the teacher behind her was stuck because the door was locked. The teacher who fell was out. The others chose to flee. They tried to flee the school, but at the entrance, they met a strong man. The teachers panicked and began to flee in a hurry. Along the way, they managed to save a child who hadn't mutated. Following the PE teacher's suggestion, they hid in the music room on the top floor. At the same time, a child opened the classroom door, and children swarmed in. While they were discussing their strategy, a female teacher discovered the homeroom teacher's injury from a scratch. The gym teacher got agitated, grabbed the homeroom teacher, and tossed them into another room for quarantine. But the biology teacher saw that even after being scratched for a while, the homeroom teacher hadn't changed, showing the virus only affects kids. So, they let the homeroom teacher go, and together, they headed to the top floor of the school to find safety. Just then, a parent arrived to pick up their child and drove into the school, and everyone shouted at the car, warning them not to enter. Sigh, they wanted to come in, but the woman in the car was focused on her phone call and didn't notice them, nor did she realize what was happening at the school. It wasn't until a child walked towards her. Soccer practice or not, honey pickle? By the time the woman noticed, it was too late. The car shook and screams echoed inside. The crowd's shouts alerted the child, who rushed at them. The group had to retreat to the classroom to hide, but due to overcrowding, the biology teacher was knocked down by the child. At that crucial moment, the physical education teacher stepped in, grabbing a fire extinguisher and striking hard. After the crisis was averted, the biology teacher checked the children's brains and saw they had turned black, proving they lost consciousness and only their bloodthirsty instincts remained. But before he finished talking, a child unexpectedly pulled the school's main switch, plunging the room into darkness. Everyone panicked, and suddenly there was frantic knocking at the door. Could it be them coming? It turned out to be the school security guard. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, but just then the back door was suddenly opened, and the children rushed in. At the guard's call, several people quickly fled to the school's broadcast room. It was temporarily safe there, and through the broadcast, they learned that the virus had spread everywhere, and the situation was beyond control. The government had abandoned the area they were in, meaning no one would come to rescue them. The only way was to save themselves. The gym teacher had a pickup truck, and the keys were in the pocket of his clothes in the lounge. If they can find the car keys, they can drive away from here. But how can they reach the lounge? That's right, through this duct. Using the school's blueprint, they think this method is feasible. The homeroom teacher and the female teacher crawl into the duct, successfully reach the lounge, and retrieve the keys. However, on their way back, they attract the children's pursuit. The two have no choice but to hide in an office, using a desk to firmly block the vent, and then attempt to escape through the office's main door. A group of children gathered around. Helpless, the head teacher came up with a desperate plan and had the female teacher throw out a handful of sleeping pills. Sure enough, the children scrambled for them, and soon after taking them, they all fell asleep. Encouraged by the gym teacher, the people in the broadcasting room decided to make a bold move. They gathered anything that could be used as a weapon, and the gym teacher even assembled an invincible suit of armor, like something out of a Gatling gun. Arriving in the hallway, they bumped into the homeroom teacher. The gym teacher handed him a stick and he got the message. As soon as a child showed up, the gym teacher attacked. He seemed possessed by a war god, unstoppable, as baseballs were fired like bullets, leading everyone out of the school. But outside, they were shocked. Countless children were wandering. Seeing them, the kids rushed over. Realizing there was no escape, they knew they had to fight. The PE teacher was exceptionally brave, displaying an indomitable spirit, and protected the other teachers all the way into a pickup truck. He tossed the keys to the homeroom teacher, telling him to drive away first while he stayed behind to cover them. However, just as the homeroom teacher started the car, the PE teacher was overwhelmed by the children. The survivors reached the city, only to find that it had already lost the hustle and bustle of the previous day, and had turned into a ghost town in just one day. They saw on the TV news that this was a massive epidemic that had spread across several countries. The cause was the raw materials for fried chicken. Greedy merchants seeking more profit injected unknown hormones into chicks for fried chicken, causing the epidemic. Suddenly, kids climbed onto the car, and when the female teacher turned, she screamed in fear as the car was swarming with little ones. Panicked, they fled aimlessly and ended up in an amusement park. Countless infected kids were shouting joyfully as if welcoming them. The louder they shouted, the more terrified the group became. In their despair, someone kicked the door open. A strong man appeared in front of the group. It was the gym teacher. He was not dead after all. He instructed them to leave the amusement park first, then he vigorously sprayed all corners of the park with a water gun, doing, "It ain't water." The gym teacher coolly put on sunglasses, lit a match, and tossed it to the ground. Instantly, a fire erupted, engulfing the entire amusement park. Then, with a graceful turn, he ended it all.